Okay, Bismillah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. This is lesson number 3 from the Madinah book syllabus, which is taught in the Islamic University of Madinah. And in this lesson, we're going to be looking at when you add the specific article, the definite article, out to a word and the changes that it makes. But as is before with the previous lesson, we're going to first begin by looking at the grammar rules that the author mentions at the end of each chapter, the vocab, and then we'll go over the lesson. So let's get straight into it. There's these points of grammar, as you can see. The points of grammar in this lesson, it says we learn the use of the definite article, which is al. Okay, the definite article, which is al, which corresponds to the English the. When the definite article al is prefixed to a noun, naturally the indefinite article, meaning the tanween, is dropped. And it gives you an example here: al-baytu baytun. Al-baytu baytun. Okay, what that means here is, if you just have a quick look at this, it says al, which is from the harf at-ta'rif. Okay, ta'rif means to make something that was general or common specific. Okay, this word al is from the harf of ta'rif, and it comes at the beginning of a noun, and it makes a general noun specific. So you have the word qalamun. You have the word qalamun. I'm just going to point to it here. You have the word qalamun, a pen, right? And then when you add al to it on this side, as you can see, it becomes the pen. But there's a change that happens, which is that you delete the tanween when you add al. So as you can see, the first word that has 2 dhammas, tanween, and the second word only has 1 dhamma because it has al at the beginning. Okay, so that's the rule. You delete the tanween when you add al to a noun. You delete the tanween when you add al to a noun. The other rule in this chapter that the author mentions, because you need to know it as it's connected to this grammar, is that Arabic has 28 letters. Okay, 14 are called solar letters or sun letters, meaning shams. Okay, and the other 14 are called lunar letters or moon letters, meaning qamar. Okay, we're going to have a quick look at the grammar of that. But basically what it says is, when you have a moon letter, you have to pronounce clearly the lam, al-qamar, and when you put a sukoon on top of it. And when you have a word that begins with a shams letter, these 14 letters, which you pronounce using the tip of your tongue, ash, right? You don't pronounce the lam, and you put a shadda on top of the letter that comes after the lam. Let's have a quick look at an example of that. If we look here, you can see there's sun letters and moon letters. In Arabic, that's called huruf al-qamariyya wa huruf al-shamsiyya. Huruf al-qamariyya and huruf al-shamsiyya. Okay, and the rule for that is, when you have a moon letter, you pronounce the sukoon on the lam. And with regards to sun letters, you do not pronounce the sukoon on the lam, and instead you add a shadda to the letter which comes afterwards. And here are the 2 examples you can see. Here you can see the sukoon. It says al-qamar. Al, you have to pronounce the lam, right? And you have the sukoon on top of the lam. And you have ash-shams. Ash-shams. You can see there's a shadda on top of the sheen, the letter that comes after the lam, and you don't pronounce the lam when you say this word. You say ash-shams. Okay, so you say ash-shams. So that's the second main grammar rule in this lesson. And that's the 2 main rules that we're going to study. And then he's going to give you a list of the moon letters as well as the sun letters. So let's go to the vocab quickly and have a look at the vocab for today's lesson. In this vocab, remember we already spoke about words being one of three types in Arabic. It's either an ism, which is a noun, or it's a fi'l, which is a verb, or it's a harf, which is called a particle. So we're looking at asma, nouns, in this lesson, and as you can see, when you look at this, you can see two types of asma, or two types of words. The author, for example, he gives a word that has alif and lam on it, right? And he also gives a word which has which doesn't have alif and lam on it, right, at the beginning. And all he's highlighting here, and this is an important point, you have words which point to actual things like paper. Okay, this is in my hand, waraq, right? Al-waraq. So it's an actual thing. It points to an actual thing. Or you have, for example, al-ma'u, as in here, water. Al-ma'u. So it points to an actual thing, right? Al-ma'u, al-waraqu. But then there's nouns which describe. They're called. They describe things, right? So these nouns which describe things. For example, the water, it can be barid, which is cold, or the water can be har, which is hot, if you're making tea, for example. So the nouns which are point to specific things, you see the author puts the alif and lam at the beginning of them. Okay, and there's a reason for that, because these are either going to be masculine or feminine. It's one or the other. But the nouns which describe, these are nouns still in English, they're adjectives. They are masculine when you're describing something which is masculine. Al-ma'u baridun, the water is cold. But feminine when you're describing something which is feminine. In other words, you can add a ta marbuta to the end of it to make it feminine. And we'll come to this in lesson number 5. But just to give you a quick overview of that, this word jadidun, it's speaking about something masculine. For example, you can say, I've got a book here which is new. You can say, for example, al-kitabu jadidun, the book is new. Okay, al-kitabu jadidun. But if the object I'm speaking about is going to be feminine, then we have to change that to, I'm trying to find something feminine in front of me. Oh, actually there's something behind, haqibatu, for example, the bag. I have to change that jadidun to jadidatun, adnay, ta marbuta at the end of it. So that's speaking about masculine and feminine, right? Masculine and feminine. So again, nouns that either point into things and they're masculine or feminine, or they're describing things and it can be masculine and feminine, right? It's not one or the other. It can be both, but you make it feminine by adding a feminine marker at the end. Okay, let's go through the vocab, because there's a lot of vocab here, but it's all adjectives basically describing things. You have the first word faqir, then the second word qasir. We'll highlight them as we go along. Third word har, we did that already. Fourth word waqif. Then you have qadim, ba'id, wasikh, kabir, thaqil. Right, we did ma already. Jamil, hulwun, something which is sweet. So that's one list of vocab. Let's go from the bottom up. You have marid, sick. You have ad-dukkan, shop. Okay, quick question. Here you have a alif and lam, like the shop, right? And you have the dal on there. That dal is, there's a shadda, which shows you that begins, that's a harf shamsiya, so you don't pronounce the lam. And as you can see, there's no sukoon on it. At-tuffahu, the apple. Al-waraqu, I can write a sukoon on here because the word waraq begins with a moon letter. Al-waraqu, paper. And you have some more descriptions here. Khafifun, light, So you say al-waraqu khafifun. Al-waraqu khafifun, light, right? It's not heavy. Saghirun, small. Nadhifun, clean. Qareeb, close. Jadid, new. Jalis, sitting, right? Barid we did, tawil we did, and last one, ghaniyun, rich. So that's the vocab. That's the vocab. How many words are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 and plus maybe another 12. You've got over 25 words here. And that's generally how many words you should be learning weekly. 25 words. And it's better to learn them in phrases. What do I mean by that? Have a look at this. We said al-qalamu maksurun. Okay, the pen is broken. Right? Al-qalamu, the pen, maksurun, is broken. Okay, I can change the word qalam to anything else. All right. What else can be broken? You just change the word qalam, and that way you're learning phrases. For example, ad-darajatu maksuratun. That's feminine, right? And anything else that can be broken. Al-kursiyyu maksurun. The chair. I'm sitting on a chair. Al-kursiyyu maksurun is broken. You can say, for example, the door. As you can see behind me, there's a door. How do you say the door again? Al-babu maksurun. The door is broken. Right? As you see, you can say the door is open. Al-babu mafturun. So now I start changing the adjective. That's one of the tips when it comes to learning Arabic, that you should learn phrases, not just words, because words by themselves, they don't have much meaning and they're hard. It's hard to just memorize words. You have to be really diligent, i.e. mujtahidun, right? You have to be mujtahid, i.e. you have to every day 5 words, add 5 new words, delete the 5 words that you don't know, and so on and so forth. Okay, let's get straight into the lesson. We've had the grammar, we've had the vocab. Ad-darsu ath-thalithu, lesson 3. The word thalith means 3. Ad-darsu means the lesson, right? It's going to highlight the grammar point that we said, so we'll just read the words and look at them. This one says baytun, al-baytu, qalamun, al-qalamu. Right? What happens when you add alif and lam? You don't have the tanween. You remove the tanween at the end of it. Right? You remove the tanween. Here you have tanween. There you don't have tanween. You remove the tanween. Okay. Let's go over here. Kitabun, al-kitabu, jamalun, al-jamalu. Right? A book, the book. A camel, the camel. Then that's giving you an example of when you add alif and lam, what happens to the word. And both these words, they begin with a, or 4 of these words, they begin with a moon letter. So you know ba, qa, ka, ja, these are all moon letters. Then he says, look at the picture. The pen is broken. Al-qalamu maksurun. Look at the picture. What can you see? The door is open. Al-babu maftuhun. On the side note, we are pronouncing the end of the words, vowelizing them for the purpose of grammar. But if you're in conversation, you unvowel the last word in the sentence, or unvowel the words in the sentences when you're speaking. Al-waladu jalisun. Look at the picture. What is the boy doing? The boy is sitting. Al-waladu jalisun. And look at the teacher. What is he doing? He's standing. Wal-mudarrisu waqifun. And the teacher is standing. You've got a horse and a donkey. Al-himaru saghirun wal-hisanu kabiru. The donkey is small and the horse is big. Here you've got 2 things, a new pen and an old book. Al-kitabu jadidun, or the opposite, and the book is new. Wal-qalamu qadimun, and the pen is old. More sentences. Look at the chair. What can you see? It's broken. So you say the chair is broken. Al-kursiyyu maksurun. The chair is broken. Another way that you can test yourself as you're going through this book is you can do things like hide the word. you hide the word and you test yourself. Okay, the picture, what was that phrase? The chair is broken. How do I say the chair is broken in Arabic? Al-kursiyyu maksurun. Right, so you can test yourself that way. Another way you can test yourself is by actually writing the words out and then saying them out and then covering it and then trying to rewrite it again, and that way you get writing practice based upon self-dictation. Okay, next one. The water is cold. Al-ma'u barid. The other thing about reading, which I've noticed with many students when they start beginners classes, or generally speaking, especially if they're not studying tajweed at the same time, is when they read words that have a med sound, which is elongation, like a long vowel, like the word barid. If I'm going to write it, I have to write it like that, barid, right? There's a long sound, right? Okay, when you're saying it, you have to make sure you pronounce that sound. Don't say barid, or don't say barid. You have to make sure you pronounce the long vowel barid. Al-ma'u, right? Al-ma'u baridun. You have to make sure you pronounce the long vowels and not shorten them. Or here, for example, this is the moon. And what's the thing that we will say about the moon? Al-qamru jamilun. Again, long vowel. The moon is beautiful. The moon is beautiful. Okay. Here you can see two things. A man's holding a piece of paper. The other man's trying to pick up a rock. The paper is obviously easy to hold because it's light and the rock is heavy. What do you say? Al-hajaru thaqilun wal-waraqu khafifun. Al-hajaru thaqil wal-waraqu khafif. And then you have a shirt just been washed on the clothes line. Al-qamisu nadhifun. Al-qamisu nadhifun. Go over here. What have you got? Milk. It looks hot. You see the smoke coming out. Al-labnu har. And then last one. Got two things again: a house and a masjid. Al-baytu qaribun wal masjidu ba'id. Al-baytu qarib wal masjidu ba'id. So that's some of the sentences. I'm sure there's going to be more on the next page. Nope, we've got an exercise. Tamreen. What's the tamreen? The tamreen is iqra, read. Iqra, that's a command verb. Waktub, that's also a command verb. On a just side note, one of the ways you know it's a command verb is because it's got a sukoon ending. Okay, a verb with a sukoon ending is an indication as a command verb. And we'll come to that, I think, in book number 3. مع ضبط الأواخر الكلمات. Let's try to match these words. Kalimat, its last letter. Okay, here the word kalimat is أواخر الكلمات, the end of the words, right? ضبط means to vocalize. So what it's asking you to do, if you see these words, masjid, would it be masjidun or masjidu? Right? Okay, because it doesn't have alif and lam, you should put a tanween, and it's masjidun. The next word, al-masjid, should it be al-masjidu or al-masjidun? If you did al-masjidun, that would be wrong. Khata. That's a khata. Right? It's not al-masjidun. Why? Because you can't have alif and lam and tanween at the same time. It doesn't happen. So you have to, if you have alif and lam, then as you know, the rule is that it's one dhamma, al-masjid, or no tanween, you remove tanween. The rest of the words you can do yourself. The vocab you already know. Write it down and repeat. The next exercise number 2, what does it say? It says to iqra waktub, read and write. Read and write. Okay, you have 10 sentences here. Al-maktabu maksurun. Right, you're going to read it. And then you're going to write it. Then you're going to cover it. And you're going to say it out again. Then you're going to translate it. Then you're going to cover the Arabic and say, and only have the English and say the Arabic. And you're going to cover the English, have the Arabic and translate it. So you're going to be practicing your translation. If you do that, you're going to excel on the course. If you don't, then it's going to be slow. So you have 10 sentences. Pay attention. Goes 1. That's number 2. Numbers ثلاثة أربعة خمسة ستة سبعة ثمانية تسعة عشرة. So here you have sentences, right? The qamis is wasikh, right? Here's a mix of Arabic and English. The qamis, right? Al qamisu, and wasiq, is dirty, right? So the shirt is dirty. The teacher is new. The Lebanon is cold. The mosque is open. The stone is big. The Lebanon is cold and the water is hot. The moon is far. The mindil is clean. The mindil, here's Arabic and English again. The mindil is a handkerchief. Picture here. The muhandis is sitting and the teacher is standing. There's a translation for you. Now write it out and translate it again. This exercise number 3 is a good exercise. Gap fill, nice and easy. It says imla al-firaq, fill in the gaps using a suitable word. Okay, so imla al-faraq, imla again. What do we say about if you see a sukoon at the end of the word? It's an indication that it's a imperative verb. What's it asking you to do? Fill in the gaps. Gap fill exercise. And it gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 words. There's 6 exercises. Take a suitable word for each gap. And here's some pictures to help you give you clues. For example, the door. Find the word for door. Al-babu. Is it open? Yes, it's open. Where's the word for open? Word number 3. So you say al-babu maftuhun. I'm just going to put 3 here just to speed things up a bit. You're going to write the word out. Alright, have a look at this picture. What can you see? The moon. Where's the word for the moon? Here it is, number 3 here. And what about the moon? Is beautiful, number 1, right? So number 3. Al-qamru jamilun. What can you see here? Water. Is there a word for water? No, so it can't be water. Perhaps it's Lebanon. What about Lebanon? What about it? Is it wasikh? Not really. Can you say the Lebanon is heavy? No. You can say it's hot though. So here you have number 4 here. Al-Lebanu harun. These are Arabic numerals obviously, so you write Arabic numerals. Oh no, just a quick one. These numerals that we have on the clocks, they are actually Arabic numerals. They're not Latin. You can see that's the rock. Where's the word for rock there? Number 1 is the word for rock. Al-Hajaru. And you know it's going to be heavy. Don't try to pick it up. You injure yourself. Al-Hajaru thaqilun, number 5, right? You have 2 left. We don't have pictures for them, but number 5 is al-mindilu and al-waraqu. So we've got 2 words left, khafifun, or we've got wasikhun. We've done all of these words already. So the mindil is not khafif, or it can be khafif, but we know that the paper, al-waraqu, is khafif, number 6. Al-mindilu is wasikh, which is number 2. So those are the answers for that exercise. A similar exercise. Okay, this one is asking you to give a suitable word, i.e. a suitable adjective. These are all adjectives, right? They're describing the noun. This one, it's got adjectives. It wants you to fill it in. Imla al-firaq, the spaces. A suitable word. So now it's asking you for the actual nouns, right? A suitable noun. It hasn't given you words here. So let's just have a quick look. Let's do jalisun. Number 7. Who's going to be sitting? Don't say al-hajar or jalis. You can't say the rock is sitting. Rocks don't sit. It has to be a suitable word. The teacher is sitting. The boy is sitting. The man is sitting. The imam is sitting. Anything which points to a person, right? So here you're going to write the words here. For example, I'm going to do it in English because you're going to do it in Arabic. No cheating. The teacher. Okay, so you translate that and write that in Arabic. I'll just say it out this first time. Al-mudarrisu jalisun. Okay, number 9. Old. Right, what is old? Is the pen old? The book is old? The chair is old? You can put a word which you find suitable. I'm just going to do the pen because it's nice and easy. The pen is old. What's far? Something which is far. Look at the sky, the moon, right? You can say the moon is far. Say the masjid is far, right? You're going to the masjid. Al-masjidu ba'idun, right? So you can say the mosque. Yeah. Okay, so it has to be a suitable word. Barid, cold. You can't say you could say the chair is cold if you've just sat on it, for example, but generally speaking, don't do that. Baridun, you can say the tea the coffee, the water, right? Something that you're going to eat, the food, right? And again, if you want to say a word that you haven't already learned, just look up the word, use Google Translate or use another and type in the word you want, right? So you're at a restaurant, you get the food, something, waiter goes, is it okay? He goes, no, the food is cold. All right, how would you say that? How would you say the food? Okay, we haven't covered it. It's not part of the vocab, but there's no harm you using Google Translate to find words that you like. Nadhifun, clean. Maksurun, broken. Qaribun, waqifun, kabirun, jadidun. Find suitable words and fill in the blanks. And it gives you the new words. We've done this at the beginning of the lesson, so we won't reread them. Now, what's happened here? It's like he started again from the beginning of the lesson. Najmun, an-najmu, deekun, ad-deeku, rajulun, ar-rajulu, talibun, at-talibu. The difference between these 4 words and the 4 words at the beginning of lesson 3 is that these 4 words, as you can see with the shadda on the top of all of them, all begin with a sun letter. So these words, talib, for example, student, a student. You say the student, you add the al, but you also have to add the shadda there because that word ta is a sun letter. Begins with sun letters. Okay, so you have to add the shadda when you put the word alif and lam at the beginning. I'll read these 10 sentences or 11 sentences, you can translate them. النجم بعيد السكر حلو الديك جميل التاجر غني الولد فقير الطبيب طويل والمدرس قصير التفاح لذيذ الدكان مفتوح الدفتر جديد الطالب مريض الرجل واقف. So these are the 11 sentences. Again, you're going to translate them. You're going to write them in English. Then you're going to cover up the English. You're going to write them in Arabic just to get handwriting practice and the like. Exercise, same as the first chapter. Read and write each of the following words, vocalizing the last letter. i.e. if it has alif and lam, it has one dhamma. If it doesn't have alif and lam, oh, this is different. This is showing whether the word begins with a sun letter or a moon letter. The ending is going to be the same in all of them. One dhamma. Al-qamaru ad-diku. Okay. Here's some sentences. The water, the doctor, the door, right? Again, fill in the blanks using a suitable noun. So here you go, they're going to be objects, right? Ghaniyun, rich. Who's rich? At-tabibu ghaniyun, the doctor. Right, so you can, I'm going to put in English, you're going to write it in Arabic. The doctor is rich. Ill. Who's ill? Right, you can say the doctor is ill. Right, the boy, the man. Tawilun, the doctor, the boy, the man, the student. Hulwun, you can't generally say the man is sweet or the boy is sweet. You're talking about fruits. What fruits are sweet? At-tufahu hulwun. Ladhidun, again, something which you eat. Qasirun, something which is short. And then the last exercise for this chapter, the author in number 3, he says to vocalize or match the. You've got 2 columns, alif and ba. Match the words in column alif with words in column ba. Pay attention to this because, as you can see, the first word is definite. They all have alif and lam, ma'arifa, right? And the second word, which is describing the first word, is nakira. They all have tanween endings, i.e. it's indefinite, it's common, general, right? You say baytun, a house, i.e. any house. You haven't specified it. But you say al-baytu, you've specified the house. When you say al-baytu, you specified the house. So the difference between column 1 is known in Arabic as, this is ma'rifa, before we go on to speak about it as a sentence, ma'rifa, and this is nakira. Okay, ma'rifa is when you speak about something specifically, and one of the ways you do that is adding al at the beginning. But that's not the only way that words are ma'rifa. When you call a person by their name, For example, you want to say that Muhammad is sick. Here's the word maridun here. Muhammadun is already a ma'rifah because it's a name of a specific person. Okay. Also, if you use a pronoun, you say he. That's also already ma'rifah, specific. Or you say a person's proper name, Muhammad, or a place like London. These are all just specific. There's only one London. There's only that Muhammad is specific. All right, I'm not speaking about any. So that's a ma'rifah can be because it has alif and lam at the beginning, or because it's a proper name of a person, name of a place, pronoun. We're speaking about words which are ma'rifah when you add al at the beginning of it and what happens to it. Nakira, obviously it's any. Okay, at-talibu, what about the talib? Is it thaqilun? Not really. Maftuhun? Not really. Maksurun? Not really. So it's either, it's going to be marid. The student is ill. Ad-dukanu, what about the dukan, the shop? Ad-dukanu maftuhun. Right. At-tufahu, the apple, what about it? Ladhidun. Al-ma'u, it's either, we've got 3 words left. Maksurun, thaqilun, or harun. Al-hajaru, thaqil. Al-qalamu, maksur. Okay, so those are the words. Okay, look at the picture. What can you say about the picture? Look at this picture. What can you say about this picture? Make up a sentence. Al-hajaru thaqilun. Al-talibu maridun. You know, he looks like he's broken his leg. He's got a temperature. Not looking good. Anyway, new words. Al-kalimat al-jadida. New words. We've done these at the beginning of the lesson. Review them, revise them. And before the next lesson, there's a couple more exercises. This is a list of the moon letters and the sun letters. This is a list of the huruf al-qamariya and huruf al-shamsiya, i.e. that Hamza, Ba, Jim, Ha, Kha, Ain, Ghain, Fa, Qaf, Kaf, Mim, and Waw, Ha, Ya. These are all huruf al-qamariya, which is why you put a sukoon on the al in all of these. If you notice as well, these words, when you pronounce them not using the tip of your tongue. Right, say Jannah, middle of your tongue. Himar, back of your throat. Khubz, back of your throat, right? But if you look at the huruf al-shamsiya, ta, tha, dal, dhal, ra, za, sin, shin, sad, dad, ta, dha, lam, you pronounce them using the tip of your tongue, and that's why you merge the lam with the letter that comes afterwards, and you write a shadda on top of the letter to show you that it's merged with the lam. Again, there's some words in here which are not in the vocab list. Learn them. Al-ab, father. Al-khubz, common one, bread. You're always going to need that. When you're in a restaurant, you want khubz. Al-ain comes up later. Al-ghada'u, another word which is not in the vocab, doesn't come up in book 1 from what I recall, but it means lunch, a very important word as well. Al-hawa, this doesn't come up in the book from what I remember. It means air, right? Al-hawa, the air. Al-laham, that's laham, right? Oh, there's a khubza. Okay, what else is there? Al-dhuhru, which is either your back or dhuhr. Al-zahra, flour. You're not flour that you use to make bread, but flowers in that you pick, right? Al-dhahab, a lady's favourite, gold. Doesn't come up in the book either, from what I remember. And the rest of the words come as-samak, fish. Okay, so again, group words, foods, types of foods, places, objects in the house, personal objects, group words, and that helps you to kind of memorize them better. Jobs and professions. There's this one as well, al-layfu, which is guest. So that's a list of vocab. It's asking you now to read the following words and write them down, bearing in mind the rule regarding the sun and moon letters. Read the following words, and do you pronounce the lam or not? Again, the rule is simple. You see a sukoon on top of the word, you have to pronounce the lam. You see a shadda, you don't pronounce the lam. Al-bayt, ad-dik, al-akh, الرسول. So where there's a shadda, don't pronounce the lam. Where there's no shadda, in that case you pronounce the lam. نعم. You got the prayer times here. Al-Fajr, Dhuhr, Asa, Al-Maghrib, Al-Isha. So here's some more words. As-Sabun, soap. Al-Isba', finger. Al-Ra's, head. Al-Wajh, face. Al-Qur'anu, As-Salatu. Right, these words don't come up in this book, so learn them here and learn the meaning. Anytime you come across a word you do not know the meaning, open your dictionary, use your dictionary. Inshallah, I'll show you an app which I use for dictionaries in the next lesson and how to use it, inshallah. If not in the next lesson, we'll have a separate session looking at dictionaries and how to use them. And that's the end of today's lesson. Next lesson we're going to be doing on next week will be lesson number 4, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.